mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. Now, you've heard of the Amber Alerts and the Silver Alerts, but that's not the only kind of alert that could keep vulnerable Mississippians safe. Joining us to tell us a little bit more is Mika Hartman. She's a mother and an advocate for the Purple Alert, which we'll learn about today. Hi, Mika.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
I am doing well and excited to hear about this new alert that you have been working on the ground, boots on the ground in the trenches to sort of get off the ground. So tell us about the Purple Alert.
So the Purple Alert, I've got to tell you, it just was a God thing. I heard of a horrible story that happened in December about a young lady who, January, who 17 years old. Her name is Kayla. You can look her up. Her last name is Durler. She was put on her special needs bus and driven to a school that was closed down for the day and dropped off. And nobody knew that she was missing. And she was going from store to store. It's all caught on camera. Being nonverbal, nobody understood, and nobody really reached out to help her. And I saw where Maryland was scrambling to get this Purple Alert. And when I saw it, I was like, what's the Purple Alert? I need to know more. And so I looked up, and Florida does have a Purple Alert already in place. Theirs is a little different than what I'd like for the state of Mississippi's to be. The Purple Alert in the state of Florida is geared more towards adults with mental or cognitive disabilities. I'd like to make ours persons so that it can include all ages. We have children with cognitive disabilities. We have seniors with cognitive disabilities. So making sure that we're the gold standard. But basically, it is exactly what it says. Ours is worded to establish as additional means to aid search of missing persons with cognitive disabilities. We know that children with Down syndrome and with autism can be what we call bolters, which is like runners or elopers. Oftentimes they run with their head down and as fast as they possibly can with no intention to stop. So I hear, I personally know my own story. My little guy, Hudson, was born with Down syndrome, but later diagnosed with autism. And he's a runner. He doesn't look back to see if mom is with him. He's nonverbal. He wouldn't be able to tell whoever where he should be or who he should be with. But I've heard of these stories so many times. But then this week I was shared about a man in Maryland, 31 years old. He went missing for 6 days. His name is Rashawn Williams. He got somehow lost his bearings of where he was on the metro system in D.C. and found himself in a closet that locked behind him. And his family was desperately searching for him. And they found him, and of course he had to go to the hospital. But he is set to do well from this traumatic experience. But even when they found him, there were missing posters all up around close to the door in which he was inside. So we don't need to wait until Mississippi has a horrible story like the 17-year-old in Pennsylvania or the 31-year-old in Maryland. We need to make sure that we're putting measures in place to protect our children.
Mika, how would this work? Let's just go ahead and assume that our legislators are going to see the significance or the benefit of this, and it does become law here in Mississippi. I'm not really sure how the Amber Alert and the Silver Alert work until I get one on my phone, but how would you go about getting that alert out? Like if we had the policy and we sort of had the ability to do it, taking any of those stories that you just shared, Mika, like what would the family's then steps be to make sure that alert got out?
Absolutely. So making sure, once law enforcement get involved, that they know, then it would go over to the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations. They are the ones that push out the amber, silver, and blue alerts. We're not reinventing a wheel. We're just adding another color to an already existing wheel. It would go out that exact same way. And what I'd like to see us do is be able to make that as a singular or in combination with, so that you could get an amber purple alert, or you could get a silver purple alert. That information is vital when you're talking about, and I'll just use my own son as the example. If Hudson were to be kidnapped, that's just horrific for me to even say out loud, but if that were the case, He takes daily medications. He eats by a G-tube. He's not going to know that he's in danger. He's not going to know to say he needs help. There was recently a young lady who was able to put up a help me sign in a car window, and somebody happened to see it as they were driving by. My son wouldn't know to do that or know how to do that. And so, having that purple attached to those alerts, and again, a law or anything that we do is only as good as getting that information out for people to know about it. So thank you for having me, because the purple alert, once we get this into place, I can see multiple pieces needing to fit together to making this be a successful campaign. We need to have a public service announcement out there letting everybody know what the purple alert is should one come across their phone, so that they are aware of what that means. I'd also like to be able to get somewhere where we can register should purple alerts go out, like families like mine would be willing to travel anywhere in Mississippi to go be volunteers to help search for the person. There was a 4-year-old just a couple of weeks ago in Alabama with autism that was missing from his mama's loving arms for 24 hours, and they found him safely. But in that time of a purple alert going out, if you had a registered database of volunteers that were willing to come out and help search, that timing is everything. We do know that children and adults alike that are non-vocal or non-verbal and bolters, runners, that oftentimes in tragedy, when they are found, 70 to 90% of the time it's a drowning, and then that other is running into like busy streets. So time is everything. Yeah. There was a story in Florida of a mama who had her son gone right instead of left, he would have wound up right at water. And so when she realized he was missing, she went right to the water. Luckily, he went the opposite direction and was found 8 homes down inside of an entryway of someone else's home. But, I mean, it was just a blessing of which way he turned. And that's just a horrific side. There's things we can do as parents who have children with special needs. All of my doors have alarms on them. We know that Hudson is a runner, so oftentimes you'll see him in his wheelchair when we're out in public. There was a story the other day. I went for pizza, and a guy was telling me about his friend's child with special needs that cruising the coast, when it comes around, he always goes missing. But luckily enough people know him and know where to get him back to. And that's a huge blessing, but you don't always have that. So you can put GPSs in shoes, but that doesn't mean the child's going to be wearing those shoes. You can put them on a belt. That doesn't mean the child will be wearing the belt. So doing this purple alert just gives a sense of relief for families like mine to knowing that there are protections out there should we need to call for help.
Well, and too, as the public, Mika, I would be, if I'm out there looking or sort of, as I kind of do or sort of share, you just have that extra layer of information that this individual, regardless the age, may not be able to communicate. You just have that extra information. So if you find yourself, with the victim or with the person missing, then you know how to better address it or ask for help, or, information's everything. So I think it's just, like you said, it's just that added layer of information for those that would be out there looking for the person that's missing, and just letting them know that, hey, someone is gone missing that doesn't need to be, out alone, and then having more troops out there sort of looking for a loved one. I can't see why this isn't a good thing. Mika, you've already got the ground running in terms of getting this into law. So who authored your bill? Where is it in sort of that process?
So it's already gone through the lawyers, and Representative Mansell is the one that's introducing this. Of course, once we get it dropped and we get a number assigned, I'll be calling every single representative out there to co-sponsor this. It is good. It's good for our state. It's bipartisan. It's just an added layer, again, not trying to recreate something, just adding to an already existing good thing for our state. And what you just said is absolutely correct. The information out there, when you talk about children with disabilities and some of their behaviors. So an example, a gentleman in New Jersey. His name was Ethan Saylor. He ended up passing away at the hands of law enforcement because law enforcement didn't understand what his stimming was. It looked like he was guilty of something, even though he was doing what he should have been doing with his caregiver at a movie theater, but he ended up being placed in a chokehold. And again, it comes down to training and education. So,
well, Micah, you have educated us a lot today on the Purple Alert. We'll be looking for more information on that. I truly appreciate your time here on Good Things. This will not be the last time that we talk about this. So I look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All righty, you guys stick with us. We got